Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience in the South and those joining us online around the world. We're glad that you all could be with us as well. As you guys know, we've talked about it before, but September is recognized, among many things, as National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. So we're really excited to be able to share with you guys guests that are not only bringing awareness to that, but also who have work that kind of features that theme and the importance of it. Our next guest definitely fits that bill. We're excited to welcome Director Gavin Michael Booth to our program. His new film is called Last Call. We'll talk to Gavin not only about his journey as a storyteller through film, but also what it's been like for him to share this very powerful and I think really important story through Last Call, what it was like for him to be able to create it and now share it with the rest of us. If you guys are just now finding out about the film, of course, we'll let you know all the details about how you can be able to enjoy it. But Gavin, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
So, Gavin, let's talk about, first of all, the success. Already an award-winning film on the film festival circuit, and now, of course, you're able to share with the rest of the world. I want to begin with the response. What has it been like for you to see the way that people have enjoyed not only the storytelling, but also the message behind the film?
It's been really wonderful. You know, reviews have been nothing but positive, but, you know, part of the great thing about the film festival circuit is when you're at that film festival, you get to watch the audience watch your movie, you know, so you get a very firsthand reaction. Generally, you do a Q&A after the movie, and we've generally found people, a lot of people in the audience with tears in their eyes and really heartfelt compliments on the movie and the messaging, and just had even beyond leaving the theater, standing in the lobby, we've had a lot of people that want to open up and share their personal mental health struggles and how the movie impacted them or reminded them of something that had happened in their life. And that has been, it was a little overwhelming for me at first. I wasn't necessarily expecting the movie to have that impact. You never know until an audience sees it, but it's been really touching and sort of like given us a mode with the film of wherever we can plug in and now help promote mental health causes. We want to use the film as a vehicle.
And we're going to talk more about that because I think that's an important thing. I want to go back, though, to your own journey, though, how we got here, Gavin. I mean, have you always known that storytelling was something that you were interested in?
I wanted to be a writer. That was when I was in elementary school, I was submitting poems and short stories and whatnot to competitions in the area. And then I loved writing movies. But, you know, I was growing up in a small town in Canada. There was no Facebook. There was no way to communicate with people. Say, who else wants to make movies? So I kind of learned, you know, camera work and editing. My high school at the time had a very advanced editing system, and I just kind of taught myself the basics. And by the time I left high school, I no longer wanted to pursue any other career path, and I knew 100% that filmmaking was what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So, you know, that takes in itself, well, storytelling, I think, in any respect these days, takes a lot of courage because everyone's a critic, right? I mean, not just the ones who are, that's their profession, but everyone these days with a keyboard or a phone thinks they have the right to tell us, you know, what they think about something. So what gave you the courage to pursue it? Because we have a lot of our audience, Gavin, that, you know, may have an idea for something, but they're afraid of how it would be received. You know, what if it doesn't work out? What gave you the courage to say, this is what I want to do, and then to go for it?
I think you just have to ignore it. You know, I believe now we live mostly in a society of ones and tens. Either it's the best experience of someone's life or the worst experience of someone's life, and there's not really I feel like we're losing a fair rating system of art and restaurant experiences or whatever it is. I've always been able to kind of ignore it. I actually take a lot of joy in reading negative reviews. It generally makes me laugh because I'm strong enough to not be bothered by it, but you're also, you know, you can always improve as an artist. So often the negative reviews are going to inform you on things that you probably know, something that they didn't like in your film. Perhaps you also know could have been better for whatever reason. There's growth from negative reviews. And I think the more you just put your art out into the world, the less you ever stop thinking about it. You know, that first music video I released maybe, you know, might have been like, oh, are people going to like it? But then you start to realize there's an audience for everything, and you don't have to please everyone. And that's the real truth, that media especially, it's niche, right? There's people who like country music, there's people who like rock, there's people who like horror movies, there's people who like romantic movies, and you're not going to be able to please everybody, so you just have to stop trying.
Yeah. So true. And that brings us then back around then almost full circle to last call, because what I think is so interesting, even as we do find things can be so polarizing, Gavin, this film shows us in the way that it's shot that we are all kind of interconnected in this thing called life. So talk to us about that. For those who have not seen even the trailer for it, how did you come up with the idea of how you wanted to be able to tell this story or these stories?
So David Wilkins, who stars in the film as Scott, the basic premise is that, a man calling a suicide hotline, thinking about ending his life, only he's been drinking and he misdials by one digit and gets connected with a random stranger. The character of Beth, who then decides to stay on the phone when she realizes why he was calling and try to change the outcome of that. So David Wilkins, who stars in the film, wrote the film with me and produced it with me. And he had the seed of the idea. And originally it was going to be him calling a suicide hotline, but quickly we learned the movie would only be 20 minutes at that point, because professional hotlines, you generally, as somebody calling in, you either agree to be safe by the end of a short call, or they send somebody to do a wellness check on you. So there wasn't, what we wanted to do. It took us evolving it into being a random stranger, which at the end of the day made the film much more exciting, because, what you're talking about, we're all connected, like we are. The whole message of the movie is just stop and take the time to listen to somebody who might just need someone to talk to. And, what I really like about the movie the most is, like any of us could get a call like that at any point in our lives, and like, are we prepared to handle that and have the kindness and the softness and the integrity to do the right thing, even though we all live very busy lives, and it's very easy to be selfish and forget about other people's needs.
Yeah. I think that is so true. And I think, also to that point is the beautiful way that we're able to see the two main characters kind of navigate the world. Talk to us about that. I mean, I can imagine that had to come with its own challenges, right?
Yeah, so the film is presented in split screen for the entire movie, so you're actually watching both sides of their lives in the phone call. And it's also shot in a single take, so there are no edits in the entire movie. So what that means is we had two camera crews in two different parts of the city filming simultaneously, and the actors are actually acting over a telephone call. And what that does for an audience is the real-time aspect of it, by never cutting or never fading out or never changing camera angles, you almost feel like you're there with Beth, the character, and you're hanging on every word and every reaction that she has to, the stranger on the other side of the phone who's admitted he's ready to end his life. And also, with the split screen, you're able to see both sides of it at the same time. So there's often times where you as an audience, you almost have a bit of like a bird's eye view or an omnipotence viewpoint, where what either character is doing at any moment that they're not aware of. So you're almost ahead of the characters a little bit throughout the movie.
Yeah. I think that is the one of the powerful things definitely about this film, as well as, of course, being able to see how these two people are navigating their own lives and how they then, of course, connected through this call. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Gavin Michael Booth to our program today. Gavin is the award-winning director of the new film Last Call. We're going to remind you guys how you can be able to see it for yourself. Of course, you're releasing a film while we're going through a worldwide pandemic, Gavin, so we have to talk about that. I mean, talk to us about how you've had to navigate this new normal, especially in your industry, when it comes to how you are going to be sharing the film this year.
It's I mean, like many of us, many industries, the film industry has been decimated. Most people see the headlines of Tenet or Wonder Woman being pushed back, but all films have had to pivot. Film festivals, for the most part, are closed from public screenings and have had to switch to virtual screenings. Cinema chains have set up virtual cinemas where you can rent the movies in your home. Everyone has had to pivot very, very, like a hard left. And it's exciting at the same time, because I feel like some of these outlets and ways to distribute movies were always going to be a large part of our future. I think we're just being forced to run towards them instead of crawl. So we're excited. It's interesting. An indie film like ours, Last Call, we don't have big stars in it. Our actors are wonderful, but when you don't have recognizable stars, it's hard to sell a movie to the public. So we almost have an advantage that, there's a little bit more press opportunity, a little bit more eyes looking for films to watch, because the big studio movies, for the most part, have shifted either towards the end of the year or just cleared out of 2020 entirely. So it's almost cleared the field a little bit for there to be potentially more eyeballs on a film like ours.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great thing. You bring up something interesting, though, and I'm glad you said it the way you said it, Gavin, because what I think is that, especially when you look at the early response to Last Call, right, the fact that you could be one of those individuals who can say, wow, I got to work with that person, when. I mean, is that kind of how it feels, too, when you see the way that the people came together on this project, knowing the talent that they take, that maybe others don't know them yet, but you know that they will?
I'll try to put all nepotism aside, and the reviews will back me up. But Sarah Booth, the lead actress in this film, who also happens to be my wife, is a superstar in the making. And I have yet to meet anybody who watches this film or reviews this film that does not highlight the level of her talent. I mean, both of these actors, David and Sarah, David Wilkins, Sarah Booth, acting in a single take. They don't get to do a do-over. There's no second take. Every moment they are on screen, they have to nail that performance and make you believe that these characters are real people. And, theater does that, but even most theater shows will have an intermission or act breaks or anything. It's just, I really believe that audiences will fall in love with both of these actors. And they both have TV credits under their belt. They both, David's in the most famous Doritos commercial of all time about the kid with the cardboard time machine that tricks his neighbor into using it. That's David.
Right.
So they're not unrecognizable faces, but I do believe if this film is seen by the industry, there will be big changes in both of their lives. And it is exciting to know people it's almost like finding raw talent. And it's the same with the cinematographer who took on this challenge of shooting a single take movie. We're all, this was a very scrappy, low budget movie. It cost less than most nice cars do. And I just think that everybody who worked on the movie has the spirit of we all want to make things to prove that we have what it takes to be a larger part of the industry. And we all really believed in the story. And the filmmaking process on Last Call was roughly 12 people. It was a very, very small crew. But it felt that the vibe on set was kind of like a summer camp. We all wanted to be there. There were lots of fun and games, and we were going to be challenged and be forced to rely on each other to get through the hardships.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things, and I think it definitely comes out. So one of the ways that you've been able to spread the word as well as the reviews, Gavin, has been through social media. Talk to us about that. I mean, has that kind of become a necessary go-to for you guys as you're preparing for the release?
Absolutely. Social media, I mean, even in the making of the film, if I can post on Facebook, hey, does anybody have this piece of equipment? Or, hey, I'm looking for this type of location. And usually find it just through 5 or 6 people responding on Facebook. So it's a very vital tool for filmmakers. But in terms of promotion, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you have the same access to the world that a Hollywood studio has. You really do. It's just about building a strong campaign, figuring out a way to get people interested in following along the journey. And usually you set that up right from the making of the film so people can see behind-the-scenes photos and then follow along online through the festival success of the movie. And we've had a very engaged audience in social media. It's small, but it's like anything. Everything has to start with a groundswell and then build your way up. So I feel like we've done a really excellent job of building an awareness of this movie. The whole reason we go to film festivals is to try to get reviews, try to get people aware of the movie, try to get people talking about the movie so that we can find a distributor and then present it to the world. So it's all part and parcel that there are no more days of a director just saying, I would like to direct a movie. I really believe you have to learn to be an entrepreneur. You have to learn to be a social media marketer. You have to at least understand how all of these things work so that your film will not get left behind.
Yeah. What a great point. You guys have done a great job with that. Again, everyone, Gavin Michael Booth has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Gavin. The new film is called Last Call, so we've talked about it here, Gavin. How can our audience be able to see it, and how can they stay connected for the updates?
Well, like Wonder Woman and everything else, as of this morning, we have had a slight bump in our schedule. The film is now set to open next Friday, the 25th of September, and we have a couple virtual cinema partners on it. So again, people are going to be able to rent it in their home, and there will be some physical theaters listed in select cities. So the best way for people to learn about that is to follow Last Call at Last Call One Take. That's the same on Twitter and Instagram, or if you find it as Last Call Movie on Facebook. We will be posting all of those links to buy tickets to watch from your home, as well as the physical theater locations. And it is opening in Canada this Friday, and we're doing select cities through Imagine Cinemas. So if you live in a city in Canada, if you're listening, and have a Imagine Cinema in your city, you'll likely be able to see it.
Awesome. Well, Gavin, congratulations to you guys. Definitely invite you guys to stay connected with him online. As you guys heard him say, both on Instagram and Twitter, you guys can find him there, as well as on Facebook at Last Call Movie. But make sure you guys find them at Last Call One Take there on Twitter as well. Gavin, looking forward to having you back on the program again, man.
I would love to. This is a wonderful chat, and thank you so much for accommodating us and helping spread the word of our little movie that could.
Well, look, definitely glad to do it. I want to thank our friends at October Coast for setting up this chat with us for today, and thank all of you, our audience, both for the radio audience and those tuning in online, for joining us for another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make today amazing. Take care.